As we're getting out of Iraq, what do we do to make sure the country doesn't blow up? Well, the first thing I'd say to you, we should start by the president being honest. And anybody who tells you that they know what's going to happen in Iraq is not being honest. We don't know what's going to happen. The choices are bad. And we're in a very, very difficult place. I think when this Petraeus report comes out, what we're going to see is a lot of focus on whether certain benchmarks have been met, whether there's been in particular areas some reduction in the violence. It will not address the big underlying question, which is, has there been any political problems? Because without Sunni and Shia reaching some kind of agreement, there cannot be stability in Iraq. It can't happen. So my view is that they've had years now to try to make political progress. They've made absolutely none, in my judgment. And my view is the way we shift responsibility to the Sunni and the Shia is we make it clear that we're leaving. The way to make it clear that we're leaving is to start actually leaving. And I would take 40 to 50,000 troops out immediately. I would continue to bring them out, combat troops, over a period of time while I was working with the Sunni and Shia to try to reach some political compromise. And I'd have all our combat troops out in about 9 or 10 months. And then I would engage the Iranians and the Syrians, all the countries in the region, but particularly the Iranians and the Syrians, into helping stabilize Iraq. Because both those countries, especially if America's not occupied, have an interest in a stable Iraq. Now let me get to the harder question. What happens if our troops are leaving or after they've gone, if the war starts to spread outside of the borders of Iraq? It's a very difficult problem. You know, we do need to maintain a presence in the region. I spoke about Afghanistan just a minute ago. We probably need a rapid deployment force in Kuwait. We need a naval presence in the Persian Gulf. But it's difficult to contain civil war. Historically, it's been a very difficult thing to do. There are things that we can do, though. Us and the rest of the world, not just us. We can set up buffer zones around the borders. You can move people out of population centers. There are things that are reasonably effective. In addition to that, the most difficult question: what happens if America leaves and genocide breaks out? What happens if the Shia start to systematically eliminate the Sunni? Now, my view is we should be planning the international community right now for that possibility. George Bush is not prepared for anything bad happening in Iraq. You know, we know that bad things could happen. We have to be ready for them. And we should not be doing this alone. You know, it's one thing to try to get people, no country's going to help us in Iraq right now. They think it's Bush's war, it's America's war. They don't have any interest in it. But when America's gone, if there's a genocide, then it becomes at least more similar to what we see happening in Western Sudan and Darfur. Then it becomes an international humanitarian crisis. And I think we can get the world to respond. But I think we have to, as you go through each of those levels, the President of the United States has an absolute responsibility to be prepared for each of those possibilities. And those are the things that I would do.